Pakistan, unlike other countries where Shias are being persecuted, has a very healthy representation of Shia Muslims in positions of power. The army is the strongest institution in Pakistan, but there have been lots of Shia Muslims present in its highest ranking positions. The president of the country right now is a Shia Muslim. Many members of the cabinet are Shia. Many important people in the media are Shias as well. So, in that sense, the persecution being faced by Shias in that country is perhaps not the same as other places. And yet, it feels like they're almost powerless to stop these hateful ideologies from spreading. Why do you think that's so?
If there are some Shia leaders, for example, in the corridor of power or in the military faction or section, it doesn't mean that they can influence the target killing or sectarian violence to be stopped in any way. Because in the army we know that there is a very strict rule of chain of command. Something which obviously coming an order, a commandment which is coming from their supreme commander or whatever you call it, from their supervisor, that will have to be followed by the people of junior ranks. And similarly, it happens in other organizations within Pakistan and internationally. If Asif Ali Zardari for some reason is believed to be Shia, for example, Asif Ali Zardari himself cannot, or he is not able to take any action against the people because he will have to look at the whole country, and running the entire country means that he will have to take everybody on board. To some extent, he can take measures or he can issue directives that the sectarian violence be reduced to some extent. But that once again comes to the people whether they will carry out those instructions or not. Whether they will, if the instructions which comes from the head of the country is not promulgated by the other people who must have some sort of relation or link or connection with the terrorist organization, then everything goes in vain. I can give you a small example. Suppose the Balochistan government or the federal government issues very clear instance or directive that you should start an immediate crackdown against the banned organizations or against the religious extremists in Quetta or in the suburb of Quetta. Now, as soon as the draft is passed, signed, and this comes obviously to the Balochistan government for further action, there are elements within the government agencies, within the secret agencies, there are people who, in the corridor of powers, who will inform or notify the people affiliated with these terrorist organizations, then they will go underground. I can give another example as well. In the present setup of the Balochistan government, the interior minister, the provincial interior minister, he boldly stated on the floor of the Balochistan assembly that I myself know who the terrorists are and who are the target killers. But unfortunately, I cannot do anything because my hands are tied. So this is very clear that the person would like to convey a message that being an interior minister, he does not pass the orders, he does not pass or issue the directive. There are someone else who are involved, obviously. It could be the chief minister, it could be any other powerful person in the provincial government or in the federal government.
So therefore, there's a lack of interest or ability in cracking down on these sectarian extremists or terrorists.
I personally believe some people argue very confidently that Pakistan is a failed state, but I don't agree with that. Pakistan is the eye of storm. Pakistan, in other words, is not a poor country. Pakistan is poorly managed, I should say. The reason being, our leaders do not have any vision. The people in the corridors of power, unfortunately, they do not have any plan or clear motive of doing something for the people or for the nation, which is why we are lagging behind. Now, if I come to your question, I would say the incompetency lies with the people who are obviously running the government, be it provincial government or the federal government. If Rahman Malik, for example, claims, yesterday he was talking to me and he was saying so far we have apprehended 81 target killers in Karachi. Now, if this is the case, for some time, if we can agree that he has apprehended those people, so why not in Balochistan? If he says, for example, they have always come to the media in front of the TV, they say, well, the people who are doing the target killers or the perpetrators in Balochistan and Quetta, they are not more than 10, 12. If they are not more than 10, 12, you know that, but you don't have the will. If you do have the will, you don't know how to actually exert pressure on the lower staff or on the provincial government to apprehend them. So I should say that the ability really lies with the people, what they do and what they want to do. If the provincial government, for example, it comes to the Chief Minister of Balochistan when a question is posed to him regarding the target killing of Hazaras, he comes up with some sort of joke, or he tries to ridicule the particular journalist. So this shows that the provincial government, the chief minister being the chief executive in a province, is not serious enough to take any action against these people. This could be one thing, or he could be directly involved in the target killing of Hazaras because he does not want to take any action against these people. So the state has nothing to do, all the people will have to do. If they would like to do anything in the corridor of power, they can. If they would like to take any action, if government, for example, is serious enough to take any action or start targeted operation against them or surgical operation against them, I can assure you that the target killing will stop within 1 hour. But they don't want to do it.
Why?
Yeah.
Why don't they want to do it?
Well, if you come to the federal government, for example, I gave you the example of Rahman Malik, that he says something else and he does something else. There is an English proverb which says, empty vessels sound greater. Same is the case with Rahman Malik, I should say. Same is the case with Chief Minister of Balochistan. The reason why they don't want to do it because they might be having some sort of benefit, financial benefit from killing the Hazaras in Quetta, Pakistan, or if the law and order situation in particular is not good enough, then obviously this could be in their favor because Aslam Raisani himself, being the Chief Minister of Balochistan, does not have good record or good reputation. Even in the Baloch ethnicity, I know a lot of Baloch tribes, they do not respect Raisani at all. And same is the case with the federal government. If they are hand in glove, they are involved in corruption, then why on earth or where on earth they would find out time to take action against the terrorist groups?
We speak about Nawab Aslam Raisani, who is the Chief Minister of Balochistan, and suffers from a very tarnished reputation. There are allegations that he or his family members have been involved in smuggling. His track record in Balochistan, where the target killings of the Hazara community as well as the mysterious disappearances and murders of Baloch activists have kept increasing under his brief tenure. And at the same time, it's also believed that the establishment, the Pakistani state, also prevents the provincial government from having too much freedom. So in light of all these factors, what do we understand of Nawab Aslam Raisani? What sorts of motivations does he have? Because as has been noted by many people from the Hazara community, his attitude in this particular instance has been repeatedly to ridicule it. So why is he acting the way he is?
Unfortunately, the system in Pakistan or the democratic system in Pakistan has not reached to the grassroots level, which is why a bulk of the society or the majority of the society will have to suffer in one way or another. Coming to your question of Aslam Raisani being an incompetent a person and unable to run the government, I'd like to draw your attention towards some of his quotes. In February 2008, when the general election was held in Pakistan, soon after that the PPP formed a coalition government in Balochistan. Balochistan is the only province with 53 ministers. 53 ministers, all in the House of 65. There are 65 members in the Balochistan Assembly. The others are either the advisors or they have any special affiliation with the Chief Minister himself. 53 direct ministers, all the cabinet is ministers. There is no opposition except one politician, Yar Muhammad Ring. Obviously, he belongs to Muslim Liaquat. Now, if there are 53 ministers, if they take any action, for example, they wish to take any action against the terrorists, there is nobody to oppose them. And the PPP government, the Balochistan PPP government, I'd like to speak about them with a special context that in the last 12 years of the targeted killings of Hazaras, there has been no minister or no person from the government itself to come and solace the people, or to come and share their condolences with the people, with the Hazara people. Now it shows not only their incompetency, but it shows also their apathy towards the existing situation or law and order situation in Balochistan. The motives behind them could be very clear, that they would like to earn money and they would like to increase their bank balance. For example, according to a well-respected lady in our community, she recently revealed, she also belongs to PPP, that the ministers in the Balochistan government are given 18 crore. So if they, for example, can get themselves allocated that much money, where does it go? It doesn't go on public welfare, it doesn't go for making, obviously, for renovating new schools, colleges. It doesn't go for the infrastructure improvement. It goes in their bank balances, which they have got in Europe, which they have got in other countries of the world. Now, if this is the situation, with all the cabinet being ministers and advisors, and not even bothering to show their condolence to the people or offer their condolence to the people, how can we expect that these people can run the government? Aslam Raisani himself, when he was elected the Chief Minister of Balochistan, this is on the record that he actually talked to the media and said within 2 years the lawlessness in Quetta especially will vanish. I'm the one who is responsible for that and I'll take responsibility. If I couldn't do it within 2 years, I would relinquish the post of the Chief Minister. Now, despite the lapse of 3.5 years, the existing situation in Quetta and Balochistan, in Quetta especially, is that the ethnicities or the nations like the Hazaras, Pashtun, Baloch, and Punjabi, and other obviously people belonging to other ethnicities living there, they are very much confused and frustrated. And God forbid, in the future, there could be a scenario where they will be compelled to pick up arms, be it against the government, be it against the forces who have been supporting and financing the terrorists in Balochistan. So if they do not have the will, if they do not want to do something against the terrorists, how can we call them to be competent enough to run the government?
So this situation that exists right now in Pakistan, where there's on one hand there's a sectarian strain of violence which seems to be affecting many different cities. There's lots of ethnic violence, especially in the metropolis of Karachi. There's almost a civil war being conducted by Islamist extremists who have an agenda both in Afghanistan as well as in Pakistan. And then there's threats on an economic level, on a social level, on a environmental level. Is there a way out for the Pakistan from this situation? And I ask you this as a member of the Hazara community, which is a very small and very persecuted minority in that country. Despite the education and the resources that it has invested in the country, this is the situation it finds itself in. So do you feel, I mean, what way forward there can be for a country that finds itself in so many problems and so many crises?
As you sow, so shall you reap. This is what the English saying goes. What we actually have sowed in the past, we are reaping that. The sectarian violence which has aggravated the law and order situation in overall Pakistan, with a special context to the target killing of Hazaras in Qaisar Balochistan, is the result of the arms, ammunition, money which was coming in abundance from Saudi Arabia and other countries in the time of Russian infiltration of Afghanistan. Now, these jihadis had nowhere to go when obviously the war, at that time the war finished, and the regime of Taliban for a small time, for a period of 6 to 7 years ruled there, and that of course was dismantled by after the incident of 9/11. Now, the people who are armed, the people who are financed, the people who are harbored, the people who are trained by the intelligence agencies of different countries at that time, including CIA, ISI, and other intelligence agencies, to fight against the Russian invasion of Afghanistan, when they had nothing to do, they had set up a particular mentality, or they were indoctrinated to actually call it a jihad, or fight against the infidels or non-Muslim, whatever you call it. Once that was over, with the collapse of the Taliban regime, they had to turn against their own people, in a sense that they were again indoctrinated that these are the people who are supporting America, this is the government who is pro-America, and if you kill them, for example, if you murder them, or if you carry out your attacks within Pakistan, so that is legitimate. In a broader perspective, we can say the solution to these problems is that our government, the intelligence agencies of Pakistan should revamp, I should say, should redesign their strategy toward the extremist groups. Although they claim that they do not have any connection with these extremist or religious groups, I do not blame the whole of the intelligence agency of Pakistan or the government of Pakistan for that. But I would say that there are elements within the government agencies or the people in the corridor of power who are still supporting the terrorist groups, be it Taliban, be it Al-Qaeda, and be it Lashkar-e-Jhangvi. We have also witnessed the case of Osama bin Laden when he was actually discovered from Abbottabad, which was only a few kilometers away from the cantonment or the Kabul college. Now, Pakistan cannot rule out that nobody is involved in that. If they have got their interest, they get the money from the Saudi Arabia, which is what they are doing. They are not concerned with the country. They do not have any concern with the people of Pakistan. Now, these elements should be sorted out. They should be found out by the government agencies, by the people in the corridor of power, and they should be brought to justice. And if there is any nexus or if there is any connection between these people and the terrorist organizations, then obviously everybody involved in that from top to bottom should be penalized. This is the only way we have got left. Otherwise, if the situation goes from bad to worse, which is going now, and which is really very deplorable for the people living within Pakistan and outside Pakistan. I can say that the civil war in all over Pakistan is not so far. That is very close, because people, there is a lot of, every home, I should say, has got ammunition and arms, weapons. Now, if, for example, everything goes beyond the limit, then they will have to pick up the arms against the government, against their own people. So it is obvious that the government should stop it as soon as possible. Hazara Democratic Party, which had conducted a protest or demonstration, a static demonstration in front of a Parliament House in Islamabad in the last week of September. After the leaders came back to Quetta, they announced that there would be mass protests worldwide from the Hazara community and their sympathizers or supporters to raise a strong voice against the targeted killings of Hazaras in Quetta and Karachi. I should say in Karachi because in Karachi this has also started. There was another group in our community which is very active, that belongs to civil society. We have got journalists in them, they are working. I've got some other friends working. I'm also working with them, having an affiliation with them. And we are running a small TV channel which is known as Matchit TV. Matchit TV obviously is seen or watched not only in Quetta but in Karachi and abroad as well. They also supported the motive and they said, well, we are going to launch a massive or mass protest all over the world starting from the 1st of October. On the 1st of October, the Hazara diaspora in 24 countries of the world started protesting. That happened on the 1st of October. That is ranging from Australia, 5 cities in Australia, then in Europe there was Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, Holland, then Turkey, then obviously Afghanistan, Pakistan, 3 cities, then New York, Canada, and some other countries as well. Thousands of people came into streets to raise voice against the targeted killings of Hazaras and show their solidarity and unparalleled support to the people there, the oppressed and underrepresented people of Hazaras in Quetta, Balochistan. We conducted a static demonstration in front of the High Commission for Pakistan on the 3rd of October, which gathered obviously over 1,200 people, including men, women and children. The response from that time until now, I've received hundreds of calls from people, messages on the internet, messages in my inbox, email. The people, especially in Quetta, the Hazaras, are glad enough and they are thankful enough to the people who supported the cause, because this is something which has really boosted up their morale. Not only that, in Sweden, for example, the day they protested, they came out in front of the Pakistan embassy there. The Pakistani ambassador came out, he spoke to the protesters, and he agreed to take up the demands of the people to the Pakistani government and assured them that practical measures will be taken regarding the resolute solution of target killings of Hazaras in Quetta, Pakistan. Apart from that, we have also spoken to other communities and other Hazaras living in other parts of the world, and they are taking it ahead. Yesterday we had a meeting and we have also planned to take it to the International Court of Justice if we couldn't get any response from the Pakistani government to stop it. We have also plans to convince the Hazaras living in Europe and other European countries to come out of their homes and stage a protest in front of the International Human Rights Office in Geneva on the 10th of December, which is obviously the International Human Rights Day. There are some other plans underway and we will use every democratic way to exert pressure on the government of Pakistan through other channels as well, in order that we can stop, or we can actually convince them to stop targeted killings of Hazara.